What would you do if you were surrounded by enemies with no way out? Alan de Lanvallay faced that exact situation. And what happened next proves that when you pray the Rosary daily, Our Lady doesn't just protect you, she performs miracles that defy the laws of nature itself. Alan de Lanvallay was a Breton Knight, a warrior from Brittany in northern France. During the Albigensian crisis, when heresy threatened to destroy the Catholic faith in southern France, Alan took up arms not for glory or wealth, but to defend the Church. Like Count Simon de Montfort, he was a man of deep faith and devotion to Our Lady, and his one constant practice, the habit that defined his spiritual life, was praying the Rosary every single day. Now, fighting in a religious war against heretics wasn't easy. The Albigensians were numerous, organized, and determined. They didn't just want to spread their beliefs, they wanted to eliminate Catholicism entirely. And Alan, as a faithful Catholic knight, was a target. One day during the fighting, Alan found himself in the worst possible military situation. He was surrounded, enemies on all sides, no reinforcements coming, no escape route. In normal warfare, this is how soldiers die. When you're completely encircled by hostile forces, your chances of survival drop to almost zero. Alan could have panicked. He could have tried to fight his way out through sheer force. He could have surrendered. But instead, he did what he always did in times of trouble. He called on Our Lady, the woman he honored every day through his Rosary, the Mother of God who he trusted with his life. And then something absolutely extraordinary happened. From the sky above, rocks began to fall. Not just a few stones, not pebbles. 150 large rocks came crashing down from heaven. But here's the miracle. They didn't fall on Alan. Every single one of those rocks fell on his enemies. The soldiers surrounding him were struck, scattered, confused, and defeated by this supernatural bombardment. Alan was delivered from their hands. Not through his own military skill, not through reinforcements arriving, not through clever strategy. Through a direct intervention from heaven in response to his daily devotion to the Rosary. Think about that number for a moment, 150 rocks. Does that number sound familiar? It should. A complete Rosary consists of 150 Hail Marys, the angelic salutation. Alan prayed 150 Hail Marys every day, and Our Lady sent 150 rocks to save his life. It's as if heaven was saying, for every Hail Mary you prayed, I'm sending one rock to protect you. But Alan's miraculous escapes didn't stop there. Another day, Alan was traveling by ship. Perhaps returning from battle. Perhaps going to reinforce another Catholic position. We don't know the exact circumstances. What we do know is that his ship began to sink. The vessel had foundered, meaning it hit something or took on too much water, and it was going down. At sea, far from shore, a sinking ship means certain death. There's nowhere to swim to. No land in sight. Even strong swimmers can't survive long in open water, especially in medieval times without modern rescue equipment. Alan and everyone aboard that ship faced drowning. Once again, Alan called on Our Lady. Once again, his daily Rosary was about to pay eternal dividends. Suddenly, impossibly, miraculously, 150 small hills appeared above the water. Not boats, not floating debris. Hills. Solid ground rising up from beneath the sea surface. And these hills formed a pada, supernatural bridge stretching from their sinking ship all the way back to Brittany. The crew and passengers walked on these miraculous hills. They traveled safely across water that should have drowned them. And they reached Brittany, their homeland, in complete safety. 150 hills for the 150 Hail Marys Alan prayed daily. Now, most people who experience one miracle spend the rest of their lives talking about it. Alan experienced two major life-saving miracles. But his response wasn't just to tell stories. His response was gratitude expressed through action. In thanksgiving to Our Lady for the miracles she had worked on his behalf, specifically in answer to his daily Rosary, Alan built a monastery at Dinan. This wasn't a small chapel or simple church. This was a full monastery for the religious of the new order of Saint Dominic, the Dominican order, founded by the same Saint Dominic who had been preaching the Rosary during the Albigensian conflicts. Alan used his wealth, his resources, his influence to create a place where future generations of Dominicans could live, pray, and spread devotion to the Rosary. He was essentially saying, the Rosary saved my life twice. I'm going to make sure more people learn about it, and have a place dedicated to this prayer. But Alan's gratitude went even deeper than building a monastery. He didn't just support religious life from the outside. He became a religious himself. This knight, this warrior, this man who had fought in battles and experienced miraculous deliverances, laid down his sword and took up the religious habit. He joined the Dominican order, and that's where Alan spent the rest of his days, not seeking more battles, not chasing military glory, but living a life of prayer, penance, and devotion. He died a holy death at Orleans, surrounded by his brother Dominicans, at peace with God, and confident in the intercession of the Blessed Mother who had saved him so many times. So what's the lesson for us today? Alan's story teaches us several crucial truths about the Rosary and Our Lady's protection. First, daily faithfulness matters. Alan didn't just pray the Rosary when he was in trouble. He prayed it every single day. When danger came, Our Lady responded to a habit of devotion, not a desperate one-time prayer. Second, Our Lady's protection is real and powerful. She doesn't protect in abstract spiritual ways only. She intervened in physical reality, rocks falling, hills appearing to save her faithful servant. Third, the number 150 is significant. The Rosary contains 150 Hail Marys. Alan received 150 rocks and 150 hills. There's a direct connection between the prayer you offer and the protection you receive. Fourth, gratitude should lead to action. Alan didn't just say thank you. He built a monastery. He became a religious. He changed his entire life in response to God's mercy. And finally, it's never too late to deepen your devotion. Alan could have remained a knight his whole life, content with his miraculous escapes. Instead, he used them as a launching point for an even deeper relationship with God. So if you're facing impossible situations, whether physical danger, spiritual attacks, financial crises, or any other overwhelming challenge, remember Alan de Lanvallay. Remember that the same Our Lady who sent 150 rocks and 150 hills to save one faithful Rosary devotee is available to you today. Pray the Rosary daily, trust in Mary's protection, and watch how heaven responds to your faithfulness.